Hey book friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Let's talk books with Shannon. Today I am doing my top 10 book boyfriends from 2024. So I'm very excited about this one because I am a romance girl. I would say that 70% of what I read is romance. So I've read over 130 books, probably 90 of them are romance books. So I had many to choose from. Let me straighten that. And it was very hard, very hard. I tried to pick from series. I just tried to pick one from a series so that I could spread out because I have so many romance books that I've read. But it was so hard because often I wanted to pick 2 or even 3 from a series. But anyway, so that's how we chose. But it's just so many. I had a really good reading year, so I really had a hard time narrowing it down. But coming in at number 10, we have Justin from Just for the Summer, Abby Jimenez book. Actually, I have a couple Abby Jimenez books in here. Okay, so we have Justin feels like he is cursed because every woman that he dates ends up finding her soulmate after they're done dating. So Emma, who is in this story, she sees his comments online and says, yes, me too, same. She's a traveling nurse. Or she ends up going to his town and they end up dating each other for that few months that she's going to be there in hopes that afterwards they will both find their soulmates. So that's the way that story starts. But Justin is just a true golden retriever in this one. He is funny. He is thoughtful. He is kind. He is adorable. He does these little questionnaires and surveys before and after his dates with her. He sends her a survey with multiple choice questions on where she might like to go or what she might like to do. And then after the date, he sends her this little questionnaire giving him feedback of how he can make the date better next time. It is so swoon-worthy and so adorable. But one more reason why I absolutely love Justin in this book is in the book, his mom ends up going to prison and Justin ends up assuming guardianship of his 3 siblings, and he does it lovingly without complaining, and he takes care of them to the best of his ability, and he does a wonderful job, and yet he's still loving Emma, and he's just wonderful, and he certainly I figured he definitely deserves to be in the top 10. Oh, quote from Justin: "You are not what happened to you, you are what you do next." I always like to get my quotes. We have number 9, another Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World. This one follows Alexis and Daniel. This is a story of opposite sides of the track. Alexis is very rich and very wealthy and has very pretentious parents who want her to be at the top of her game, regardless of what she wants, at the top of her field. So anyway, she has a car accident in Daniel's small town, and that's how they meet. But Daniel is just, and Alexis has this idea that this is all just going to be short term. She keeps on coming back to the small town to see Daniel, but she realizes that this cannot be long term. She cannot live in his world. He cannot live in hers. So it's just that she just feels like she's just going to, it's going to last as long as it lasts. But Daniel is just so loyal and honest are probably good adjectives for him. And he is a carpenter and he runs the B&B and he is the mayor. He just has so many hats that he wears and wears well. So he's just a truly good person and he would do anything to make Alexis happy. He would, just live in her world if that's what she wanted, he decides. But anyway, he's definitely a small town, wonderful book boyfriend. Oh, quote from Daniel: "I'm not an asshole. It's my favorite thing about myself." I love that. That one made me laugh. Okay, we have Wild Eyes. I'm not quite done with this one, but I know he's in the top 10 because I'm far enough in that I know Weston is going to be in my top 10 book boyfriends. I love Weston. Plus, I do seem to have a thing for athletes and single dads and cowboys. And he is actually kind of 2 of the 3. He's lives in a small town and he is a single dad. So We have in this one, we have Skylar and Weston. And Skylar is a country rock star who has lost her way and comes to this small town where there's a recording studio to try and find herself. She's just kind of tired of living for everyone else and everyone telling her what to do all the time. She needs to figure things out. So anyway, so she meets Weston, and Weston is so impulsive, so flirtatious, so cute, oozes masculinity and confidence, and he was hilarious in this. Just so funny, and such a great dad. He has 2 kids in here. Such a great single dad. And I just love the way that he helped Skylar find his way. It just kind of moved me, in addition to the comedy and the sarcasm and the banter. Great banter in this book. So Weston is up there. Okay, next one we have is Ryan Shea from The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. He is a basketball player for the Chicago NBA, and he meets Indy, Indy, who is his twin sister's best friend, and she has just come out of a bad breakup and needs a place to stay, and so his sister talks Ryan into letting her stay there. And Indy's kind of messy and chaotic and also very tempting. And but she's labeled unapproachable for Ryan. But then Ryan needs to better his public image, according to his coaches, and seem more approachable and appear out in public more because he tends to avoid the public eye. So they end up fake dating. And Ryan, who ends up just being so tender and so thoughtful, and I think he's kind of terrified of being hurt, which was very touching to me and very appealing. And he just takes care of Indy and nurtures her to no end. And I just really loved that. Loved him. A quote for Ryan. Oh, this was funny. She's a romance reader. Indy is. And he's reading one of her romance books. All my romance readers will be able to appreciate this. He says, this is practically a how-to manual on how to pleasure a woman. How are more men not reading this? I love that. Okay, so we have number 6, Flawless, Rhett from Flawless by Elsie Silver. This one follows Rhett and Summer, and Rhett is a bull rider, which is in and of itself such a masculine job, and he has a very bad image. And his agent hires his daughter to improve his image and babysit him and keep him from getting into any more trouble. And so that's how they are thrown together. It's kind of forced proximity. But I think just what appeals to me about Rhett is his masculinity. He's got a bad boy image, but his masculinity is just wow. Later on, you find out about his vulnerabilities and his insecurities, and that was just very endearing. And he falls hard and fast for Summer, and I always love that in a man. Quote from Rhett. You've got me, princess. Only you, I promise. Okay, coming in at number 5, we have The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, and my book boyfriend in here is Jack, who's a movie star. He has stopped making movies because of since the death of his brother, which he took very hard, and he's now got a stalker, and so his agency, his people decide to hire a bodyguard who is Hannah, to protect him from the stalker. And also Jack's mom is very sick and he has to make a trip back to Texas to be with his sick mom. So he decides that he doesn't want his sick mom knowing about the stalker and worrying about him with everything else she's dealing with. So Hannah and Jack, they fake date so that his mom can think that he has a girlfriend instead of a bodyguard. So anyway, it's one of my favorites. I don't know, it'll probably be in my top 5 books this year, but I just love this book. But the banter, the humor, the sarcasm of Jack and Hannah was so good. But Jack was just caring and hilarious. And I am a sucker for a sense of humor. But just in addition to him being so funny and so cute with Hannah, just his emotional journey and personal growth really appealed to me in this one. So love this one. Quote from Jack. People loving you for your best quality is not the same as people loving you despite your worst. So I love that one from him. Great found family in this book as well. So, okay, number 4 book boyfriend was another Abby Jimenez, yours truly. And in this book, we have Jacob. He's a doctor. And Brianna, who's also a doctor. Brianna's recently divorced, and she has a brother who she helps take care of who needs a kidney transplant. And she wants this particular promotion at work. And of course, Jack ends up getting it. And Jacob, sorry. Jacob ends up getting the promotion. And so she starts off hating him, but he ends up just being everything. He suffers from social anxiety, which is handled so beautifully in this. So he starts writing her letters. And their letters back and forth were just so moving and so touching and so cute. And he's just so funny and likable and just so sweet. And they exchange letters, and he ends up secretly giving Brianna's brother a kidney. So right there, I'm just like, really? So he was just so real, and his social anxiety just was handled beautifully, and he has panic attacks, and Brianna helps him with that. But I just love Dr. Jacob. So he ends up at number 4. This is probably going to be a reread at the start of next year for me. Love that one. Okay. My quote for Jack. Love this one. We're all a little broken, Brianna. We are a mosaic. We're made up of all those we've met and all the things we've been through. There are parts of us that are colorful and dark and jagged and beautiful. And I love every piece of you, even the ones you wish didn't exist. Oh. Okay, so number 3. Another Liz Tom Ford. Play Along by Liz Tom Ford. 2 of this series made it in, but 3 could have easily made it in. I left out Kai from Caught Up, and I loved Kai from Caught Up because he's, again, a single dad. This one, I couldn't leave out because I loved Isaiah more. So this one we have Isaiah and Kennedy. Isaiah is a shortstop for the Chicago baseball team. And Kennedy is actually a doctor, but she is most of her character in this book, she is a physical therapist. And the reason why is she comes to town to be a second doctor for the team, and when the head doctor realizes that she's a woman, he doesn't give her the job. And so he's a chauvinist pig. And she ends up taking the training job because she desperately wants to work for the team. And she ends up loving that job. But back to Isaiah. Isaiah is a baseball player, and he is, right off the bat, always putting on a happy, optimistic face for everyone. And always making everyone feel better. And hiding his own true feelings. So, and he's a great uncle to Kai's son. But at one time, Kennedy and they meet up in Vegas. Isaiah is there for a spring training kind of night with the boys before spring training starts, and Kennedy is there for her sister's bachelorette. Now her sister is marrying Kennedy's ex, so that's very complicated and wrong. But anyway, so she's trying to avoid the party. She runs into Isaiah. They end up having a drunken night of fun and recklessly end up getting married because Kennedy decides she wants to show her family that she's over her sister's fiance. And so that's how that ends up. So in the very beginning of the book, they end up getting married. And from there, they, of course, wake up in, remorse mode and end up going to a meeting, and they realize that they can save Kennedy's job if she stays married to him for a year. And there are some circumstances around that. But anyway, that's how that takes off. But Isaiah is hilarious. He's just hilarious. He's so positive. He's just a half full kind of guy. And I just love that about him. And he shows up for his family and for her time and time and time again. And you will love him. I don't know who would not love Isaiah. You don't even have to be a sports fan, but he is delightful. So he came in at number 3. Okay, my last 2. Again, very hard, very hard. Okay, I'm still debating on which one's number 1 and which one's number 2. I am going to go... I have another Chestnut Springs. Theo from Reckless by Elsie Silver. We have... Theo is also a bull rider. So I apparently have something for bull riders. But he is... becomes attracted to Winter, who is an estranged sister of Summer from Flawless. But anyway, they end up flirting and having some fun and end up having a one-night stand, what they think is a one-night stand. And there's an unexpected pregnancy trope in this. So Winter ends up getting pregnant. So she doesn't tell him about it. They leave, they separate. I don't even know for how long. I don't really remember. But she tries to reach out to him to tell him. And I forget the circumstances of someone had taken his phone, or I don't know what it was. But anyway, he doesn't find out that he is, that she's having a baby. So she ends up staying in Chestnut Springs. And then when Theo comes back because of an injury, he ends up finding out that he has a daughter, and he is very upset by everything that he missed out on because he didn't know she was pregnant. And he starts off, he's very much a player, but he's just, once you get to know him, charming and sweet and flirtatious and funny and just irresistible, just totally irresistible. And so determined to love Winter and his daughter like they deserve. So a quote from him was, he goes, "I could effing bury whoever made you believe you're as unlovable as you think you are." I love that when he says that to her. Okay, here we go. My top book boyfriend. And this was so hard, even the order. But I've only read the first 2, but oh my gosh, Johnny Kavanaugh. Are you kidding me? Binding 13 and Keeping 13. I have both books. I just pulled the one. But they are the same story. Shannon and Johnny's story. Johnny is a rugby player in a small Irish town. And Shannon is younger than him. Johnny's, I think, 17. And Shannon is 16 when this story begins. And Shannon has been bullied her whole life at school and abused at home. And she ends up switching schools in hopes of stopping the bullying. And her first day at the school, then Johnny ends up hitting her with a rugby ball accidentally. And that's how they initially meet. But I loved Johnny because he is such a strong leader, so loyal to his friends and his team and to Shannon. And the way he cares and respects Shannon and protects Shannon time and time and time again just melted my heart, completely melted my heart. I love these books. I will be reading the next 2, Joey's story, which is Shannon's brother, probably the beginning of the year. I know I already have those 2, but Johnny was just probably my favorite book boyfriend of the year. It may, like I said, it always alternates. I switch from time to time with someone else, but he's up there. He is the best. So if you're going to read these books, you do need to read them in order. And first of all, I want to just say one thing I didn't like about these books, but I love everything about this book when I read it. But they sell these in Barnes & Noble in the young adult section. And that, to me, is very inappropriate. I do not understand that at all. There is a lot of trauma in these books. And there is sex in the books. First one, maybe not. But anyway, it's just not appropriate to be selling this as young adult. So, other than that, I love these books. So thank you, Chloe Walsh, for these. But anyway, so yes, Johnny made it as my top book boyfriend. Friends, I think that's it for this one. But please leave me comments. If you agree, if you disagree, tell me some of the book boyfriends that you loved this year. Hit subscribe if we have similar tastes. Hit like, leave me comments. Until next time, please take care of each other. Happy reading.